Good Inside. This video is based on key insights from the book Good Inside by Becky Kennedy. Chapter 1, Good Inside. Becky Kennedy believes that at our core, all children and parents are compassionate, loving, and generous. This is what she calls internal goodness. This principle drives her parenting approach. She argues that seeing kids as inherently good helps us understand their bad behaviors better, leading to effective strategies for change rather than just reactions driven by frustration or anger. According to Kennedy, many parents unknowingly operate from a place of assuming their children's badness. They might ask, "Does he think he can get away with that?" Or say, "What's wrong with you?" These responses come from assumptions that kids are trying to manipulate or defy them. But Kennedy insists that these reactions aren't necessary and can be replaced by curiosity about the reasons behind such behaviors. She emphasizes that believing in a child's goodness doesn't excuse bad behavior or result in permissive parenting. Instead, it helps differentiate between who a person is good and what they do bad actions. This distinction is crucial for creating effective interventions that maintain a positive relationship while fostering improvement. Kennedy explains that our brains are wired with a negativity bias, making us more aware of problems than successes. Additionally, our past experiences, particularly those from childhood, shape how we perceive and react to our children's actions. Many parents, having grown up under critical or judgmental parenting, might naturally mirror these behaviors without conscious effort. To break this cycle, Kennedy suggests viewing behavior not as a reflection of a child's character, but as an expression of their needs. This way, instead of shaming kids for flaws we perceive, we can help them access their inherent goodness and improve their conduct simultaneously. Reflecting on her childhood, Kennedy prompts parents to imagine how they'd respond to various scenarios, like a 3-year-old struggling with a new baby sister, a 7-year-old sneaking an Oreo, or a 13-year-old avoiding a school assignment. She stresses that these responses set the stage for intergenerational patterns, as children learn from how their parents manage conflicts and difficulties. The most generous interpretation, MGI, is Kennedy's proposed solution to rewire these patterns. It involves asking oneself, what's my most generous interpretation of what just happened? For instance, if a child says, "I hate you," after being left out of a special lunch with an older sibling, the MGI might be, he feels excluded and is overwhelmed by big feelings. Instead of reacting harshly or ignoring, a parent would respond empathetically, acknowledging those feelings. By practicing MGI, parents learn to focus on their child's internal experience, emotions, sensations, rather than their external actions. This approach fosters self-regulation skills in children and strengthens the parent-child bond. Kennedy assures that viewing behavior through this lens doesn't equate to being easy on kids. It simply helps them build essential emotional control while preserving relationships. Ultimately, Kennedy stresses that understanding our inherent goodness is key. This awareness allows us to approach our own and our children's struggles with compassion instead of criticism, potentially breaking cycles of self-blame and shame across generations. She encourages parents to be the pivot point in family patterns, aiming to make their children feel valued and loved despite their difficulties. Chapter 2, Two Things Are True. Becky Kennedy's chapter revolves around the idea of being two things at once: a parent who is both fun and firm, loving yet sets boundaries. This concept challenges parents to embrace multiplicity in their roles, rather than feeling like they must choose between different aspects of parenting. Kennedy explains that many parents struggle with balancing discipline and joy, often feeling they can't be silly one moment and strict the next. She argues this duality is possible and beneficial, not only for the children, but also for the parents' well-being. This "two things are true" mindset is vital in parenting because it allows for understanding rather than just convincing. Understanding involves acknowledging another person's feelings, thoughts, or experiences without necessarily agreeing with them. It's about seeing things from their perspective, fostering connection and empathy. On the flip side, Convincing is an attempt to prove that only one truth exists, often leading to arguments and misunderstandings. It assumes there's a single right viewpoint and ignores other valid experiences. Kennedy stresses that this concept of multiplicity is crucial for healthy relationships, not just parent-child, but all kinds. For instance, in a marriage or friendship, accepting multiple truths allows both parties to feel seen and heard, fostering closeness and mutual respect. She uses real-life examples to illustrate her points. For example, she discusses a mom named Sarah who feels torn between being strict and fun with her children. Kennedy advises Sarah and other parents that they can indeed be both, enforcing rules while still engaging in playful moments. In another scenario, Kennedy describes a parent-boss relationship where a worker didn't receive a promised raise due to budget cuts. She suggests the employee could feel grateful for their job and disappointed about not getting the raise simultaneously. Both emotions are valid and can coexist. Kennedy also explores how this "two things are true" concept applies to parenting challenges like setting boundaries, handling tantrums, or managing power struggles. She emphasizes that parents should validate their child's feelings while standing firm on decisions. For instance, if a child wants to watch an inappropriate show, the parent can assert their decision, no, and still acknowledge the child's disappointment and upset feelings. Similarly, during a battle over wearing a coat outside in freezing weather, the parent can understand the child's desire for independence while insisting on safety measures. In all these situations, Kennedy encourages parents to recognize that both their viewpoint and their child's feelings are valid. It's about embracing multiplicity, showing empathy, and fostering understanding, a strategy that leads to healthier, more connected relationships with children. Chapter 3: Know Your Job. Becky Kennedy emphasizes the significance of clearly defined roles and responsibilities in family systems for smooth operation, just as in any other system. Confusion about roles can lead to breakdowns. Each family member has a job. Parents are tasked with ensuring safety through setting boundaries, validation, and empathy, while children explore and learn by expressing their emotions. Safety is Becky's top priority for parents in the family system, surpassing happiness or pleasing children. Parents must safeguard kids physically and psychologically. A parent's failure to do so can instill fear in a child, making them feel alone when they need help the most. This fear is manageable for a child if the parent steps in to keep them secure. Such actions, though often unappreciated by the child at that moment, are crucial for developing their emotional resilience needed to become healthy adults. Boundaries serve as the means to ensure safety, created with love and care for children who can't yet make good decisions. Boundaries protect children from situations they're not equipped to handle, such as walking too near a road or watching frightening movies before they're ready. The gap between intense feelings and the ability to manage them often results in dysregulated behavior actions like hitting, kicking, or screaming. Children's brains aren't fully equipped for self-control until their 20s. Becky uses a two-story house analogy here. The downstairs brain, responsible for basic functions and emotions, is fully developed in young children, while the upstairs brain, dealing with complex tasks like planning and decision-making, continues to develop into adulthood. This delay explains why kids often struggle with planning or empathy. Parents play a pivotal role as staircases, connecting a child's intense feelings downstairs with their developing self-control upstairs brain. Parents should let children experience various emotions and new situations while teaching them to cope. The aim isn't to suppress feelings, but to guide kids in managing all their feelings and perceptions effectively. This is primarily the parent's job, shown through actions rather than lectures or logic. When a child becomes overwhelmed, it's essential for parents to contain these emotions first, followed by setting boundaries. Boundaries can be expressed verbally or physically, but should never involve harming or frightening the child. For instance, if a child is throwing things at their sibling, a parent might step in between them and say, "I won't allow you to throw those." Simultaneously, They could remove the objects being thrown to prevent further conflict. Setting boundaries isn't just about telling children what not to do. It's about establishing what parents will do. When Renee and Kai started arguing over their playtime, for example, a boundary would be setting limits on what each child can do, ensuring safety and fairness. Becky underscores that validating and showing empathy towards children's feelings is equally important in maintaining family harmony. Validation means acknowledging a child's emotions as genuine and real. Invalidation occurs when adults dismiss or try to logic away a child's feelings, which can make kids more upset. Empathy involves understanding and relating to a child's emotions without trying to change them. These skills are crucial for helping children regulate their feelings, a key goal of childhood. By validating their children's experiences and showing empathy, parents communicate that they are loved and understood regardless of their current state, fostering self-control over time. Understanding these dynamics, safety, boundaries, validation, and empathy, allows parents to see their children's struggles as part of fulfilling their jobs within the family system. Recognizing this can prevent parents from blaming themselves or their kids during challenging times. Instead, it encourages viewing such moments as evidence of everyone doing their parts well. Chapter 4: The Early Years Matter. In her exploration of parenting, Becky Kennedy emphasizes the profound impact of early childhood experiences on a child's future life. She argues that even if children can't recall specific events from their earliest years, these moments shape their internal models and attachments. Kennedy explains that attachment theory posits babies have an innate drive to bond with caregivers for survival. Children form different types of attachments based on their interactions, which influence their internal working models. These models dictate how they perceive themselves and others, as well as what they expect from relationships. For instance, a parent who dismissively says, "Stop being such a baby," when a child cries at school drop-off, might teach the child that vulnerability leads to ridicule and unseen emotions. Conversely, a supportive response like, "It's hard to say goodbye today. I get that," can help the child understand that their feelings are valid and deserving of attention in close relationships. Kennedy also introduces internal family systems, IFS, a model suggesting individuals have various parts or subpersonalities. Children interpret parental interactions through this lens, learning which parts of themselves lead to connection versus disconnection. For example, a child might suppress feelings of anxiety if met with criticism or rejection from parents, whereas positive responses foster self-acceptance and openness. The author stresses that consistent responsiveness, warmth, predictability, and repair in parent-child relationships create a secure base for the child. This security encourages exploration, resilience, and healthy risk-taking, paving the way for confident, independent adults capable of balanced interpersonal connections. Moreover, Kennedy underscores the importance of distinguishing between behavior and underlying feelings in children. Parents should address misbehavior without discrediting the child's emotions, ensuring kids understand they can express their feelings without fear of rejection or abandonment. In essence, Kennedy advocates that while parenting is challenging, especially during toddlerhood, every effort is worthwhile. The early years lay crucial groundwork for a child's self-awareness, independence, and relationship skills. By responding empathetically to their children's feelings and needs, parents can nurture secure attachments and positive internal working models, setting the stage for their kids' future success and happiness. Chapter 5: It's Not Too Late. Becky Kennedy emphasizes that it's never too late for parents to improve and connect with their children, altering the course of their development. She often encounters parental concerns about missed opportunities during crucial early years, or feeling they've made irreversible mistakes. However, Kennedy reassures that every moment counts. Parenting, according to Kennedy, is a journey of self-discovery and growth. It challenges parents to reflect on their actions, learn from them, and evolve. This process isn't just about raising children, but also about nurturing oneself. Parents must tackle feelings of guilt and remorse, while striving to enhance their strategies and behaviors. The brain's capacity for rewiring is a central theme in Kennedy's approach. Our brains adapt throughout life, allowing us to modify old patterns and adopt new ones when necessary. This neuroplasticity means that even if children are past their initial formative years, parents can still positively influence their brain development through changed interactions. Kennedy highlights research showing that a child's environment significantly impacts their brain development, particularly the prefrontal cortex responsible for emotion regulation, empathy, and connectivity. Despite early influences shaping these areas, she asserts that secure attachment, even in later life, can prompt rewiring. Therapy or counseling can facilitate this change by improving emotion regulation and stress management skills. In families, Kennedy suggests that parental transformation can lead to corresponding changes in children's brains. Often, when kids struggle, it's not the child's therapy, but rather the parent's coaching or therapy that brings significant improvements. This underscores that a child's behavior, rooted in their emotion regulation patterns, links closely to a parent's emotional maturity. Kennedy encourages parents to view moments of struggle not as defining their parenting abilities, but as opportunities for growth. She reminds them that they're not alone in experiencing off moments and that what follows these instances is crucial: the act of repair. Repair involves reconnection after disconnection, typically marked by a parent's calm presence following a dysregulated reaction from the child. This reconnects the memory and the body, altering it from one of isolation and self-blame to one infused with understanding and support. Kennedy recommends apologizing sincerely, sharing reflections on the incident, and expressing plans for future improvement without blaming the child for triggering reactions. Kennedy emphasizes that repair can occur anytime, instantly, or years later, and always leaves a lasting impact on children's self-perception and relationship dynamics. She shares inspiring stories from her community of parents who have successfully repaired relationships at different stages, demonstrating the power of these connections in healing past rifts and strengthening bonds. Ultimately, Kennedy encourages parents to embrace repair as a vital part of their journey. She urges them to view setbacks as chances for growth, both for themselves and their children. By doing so, they foster resilience in their kids and promote healthier relationships overall. Chapter 6: Resilience over Happiness. Becky Kennedy, a child psychologist, explores the concept of parenting and happiness in her chapter. She argues that while parents often wish for their children's happiness, what they truly aim for is to protect them from distress and discomfort. This approach, however, may not foster true resilience, the ability to handle life's challenges. Kennedy uses the metaphor of a jar to explain how our emotions work within us. She suggests that our body has an alarm system constantly scanning for danger. When we can't manage negative feelings like disappointment or sadness, these emotions crowd out happiness in our emotion jar, leading to stress and anxiety. She asserts that true resilience is more crucial than immediate happiness. Resilient children can handle challenges, bounce back from failures, and still feel good about themselves. It's not about avoiding difficulties, but learning how to cope with them effectively. According to Kennedy, parents can nurture resilience by showing empathy, active listening, accepting their kids for who they are, providing a safe and consistent environment, identifying strengths, allowing mistakes, helping children develop responsibility, and teaching problem-solving skills. For instance, instead of immediately solving a child's problem like building a sturdier block tower, parents should stay in the moment of struggle, showing understanding and curiosity. This way, children learn they aren't alone in their distress and can handle hardships independently. Kennedy warns that focusing on happiness might lead to anxiety as adults. If kids are always rescued from discomfort, they may grow up thinking any negative emotion is wrong or scary, leading them to avoid such feelings later in life. Instead, she suggests preparing children for all emotions, both good and bad, through honesty and loving presence. In summary, Becky Kennedy encourages parents to prioritize their kids' resilience over immediate happiness. By teaching children how to manage tough emotions and stay in challenging situations, parents equip them with the skills needed for long-term happiness and success. This approach involves empathy, patience, and a shift from quick fixes to fostering self-reliance and emotional intelligence in children. Chapter 7: Behavior as a Window. In her guide, Becky Kennedy shares insights on effective parenting by focusing on understanding the underlying causes of children's behaviors rather than just reacting to the actions themselves. This approach is often referred to as behavior as a window, meaning that children's actions reveal their deeper feelings and needs. Kennedy begins by describing a typical chaotic evening at home, where a parent might react harshly due to various stressors. She suggests that the real issue isn't the cereal box being thrown, but the underlying emotions of frustration, feeling overwhelmed, and a lack of support. When parents or caregivers focus solely on the behavior, they miss the bigger picture, the child's emotional state. Instead, Kennedy advocates for empathy and understanding. If a child throws a cereal box, it's not because they don't know right from wrong. It's a sign that they're struggling and need help managing their emotions. Kennedy contrasts two potential responses from a partner in this situation. The first response is critical and judgmental, focusing on punishment rather than understanding. This approach can make the child feel unloved and misunderstood. The second response, however, shows curiosity and empathy, aiming to connect with the child rather than control their actions. This concept extends beyond adult relationships into parenting styles. Kennedy argues that traditional methods of behavior modification like sticker charts, rewards, or timeouts often fail in the long run. These tactics may temporarily change behavior, but don't address the root causes, leading to recurring issues as children grow older and more capable of asserting themselves. Kennedy emphasizes that children's behaviors are symptoms of unmet needs or underlying emotional struggles. By addressing these deeper issues, such as feelings of insecurity following a new sibling's arrival, parents can help their children develop resilience and self-regulation skills. This approach fosters lasting behavioral changes naturally, as the source of the problem is resolved. She uses an example of a child grabbing toys from a baby sibling. Instead of immediately correcting the behavior, Kennedy suggests acknowledging the child's feelings and offering comfort and understanding. This validation can help the child feel secure again, leading them to naturally stop the problematic behavior on their own. Kennedy also warns against prioritizing control over building relationships with children. She explains that methods focused solely on controlling behaviors can lead to a lack of emotional connection, making it harder for parents to influence their children positively as they grow older and more independent. In essence, Kennedy advocates for a more holistic parenting approach centered around curiosity, empathy, and understanding. By looking beyond surface-level behaviors, parents can better support their children's emotional growth and develop stronger, healthier relationships over time. Chapter 8: Reduce Shame, Increase Connection. Becky Kennedy explains that many parenting challenges, such as a child's refusal to apologize or lying, stem from a common issue: shame. Shame is defined by Becky as the feeling of, "I can't be me right now, I feel so bad." It's a powerful emotion that encourages children to avoid contact with others due to fears of rejection or abandonment. This reaction is especially intense for kids because their survival depends on attachment. Shame activates the body's alarm system, creating an ultimate danger sensation. It's a protective mechanism that leads children to hide parts of themselves they believe won't gain acceptance or love from others. This shame-driven behavior might look like cold, unapologetic actions, stubbornness in the face of struggle, or lying about small or big things. Shame is crucial for parents to recognize because it can escalate conflicts and misunderstandings between parents and children. When parents detect shame in their kids, they should prioritize understanding and reducing it over correcting behavior. For instance, when a child refuses to apologize after doing something wrong, like hiding her sister's favorite lovey, the parent might initially expect an apology. But Becky suggests that the child could be overwhelmed with shame, feeling awful about what they did and fearing rejection if they admit it. In such cases, instead of insisting on an apology, parents should first aim to alleviate their child's shame. This can be done by saying something like, "I see how hard it is for you to say sorry. I'll do it for you this time," and then sincerely apologizing to the sister. Afterward, the parent should not lecture or punish, but instead focus on rebuilding connection and trust with their child. Becky emphasizes that children feel shame regardless of age, whether they're 5 or 15. A teen might lie about a situation rather than apologize, indicating they are also dealing with shame. In these situations, parents should apply the same principles, first detecting the shame and then working to reduce it by making their child feel loved and valued again. Shame reduction is vital because unchecked shame can lead to long-term issues. Many adults carry unresolved shame from their childhood, which can impact their ability to form healthy relationships or manage emotions appropriately as they grow older. Becky encourages parents to practice connection first. This means prioritizing the relationship with your child over correcting behaviors or enforcing rules, especially during challenging moments. By showing understanding and empathy, parents can help their children feel safe and accepted, reducing the influence of shame. In essence, Becky Kennedy advises that being a better parent involves tuning into your child's emotional needs, particularly their fears and insecurities driven by shame. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration when they behave badly, parents should first acknowledge their children's feelings and provide reassurance of love and acceptance. This approach fosters a stronger, healthier parent-child relationship. Chapter 9, Tell the Truth. Becky Kennedy emphasizes the importance of honesty in parenting, stating it's more than just avoiding lies. It involves confronting complex feelings and addressing challenging topics with your children. This can be tough because it often requires dealing with your own discomfort and unpleasant emotions. For instance, when your child asks about a heated argument between you and their other parent, honesty means not glossing over the issue or hiding your feelings. Instead, it's about explaining that even grown-ups have disagreements, and that's okay. This approach helps kids understand that conflicts are normal and that everyone experiences a range of emotions. Similarly, discussing tough subjects like racism involves acknowledging your own reactions, maybe feelings of anger or fear. By sharing these honestly with your child, you teach them it's okay to experience and talk about difficult emotions. Kennedy also explains that children often fear confusion and loneliness more than the facts themselves. When kids notice changes in their environment, like parents arguing, they can feel scared until they understand what's happening. So, instead of keeping them in the dark, it's better to explain things calmly and honestly. This helps them make sense of the situation and feel safe with you. She advises that children are usually more attuned to changes than adults because it helped our ancestors detect potential dangers. If a child notices something and doesn't understand it, they might imagine the worst-case scenario until an adult provides context. Kennedy suggests 4 ways to tell the truth as a parent. 1. Confirming perceptions. Start by acknowledging what your child observed. For example, if your child was playing and got startled by loud vacuum noise, you could say, "You noticed when Daddy turned on the vacuum and it made a loud noise." That can feel scary. This validates their observations and helps them understand unexpected events. 2. Honoring questions. When children ask tough questions, like about death or how babies are made, they're ready for answers, not signs of ignorance. So, even if the question seems advanced for their age, answer truthfully but age-appropriately. For example, explaining death might be as simple as saying, "When someone is very old or very sick, their body stops working, and we call this dying." 3. Labeling what you don't know. There will be times when parents can't provide definitive answers to questions. In these cases, it's okay to say, "I don't know," followed by what you do know, like your commitment to being there for them and supporting their feelings. For instance, if a child asks about grandma's cancer treatment, you could say, "We're learning all we can from the doctors, but I wish I knew more too. 4. Focusing on the how. Often, parents worry excessively about choosing the perfect words to deliver difficult news. However, Kennedy stresses that how you communicate, your tone, expressions, and attentiveness matter more than specific phrases. Before discussing hard topics, prepare your child by saying something like, "We're going to talk about something important that might make us feel big emotions." Then, use straightforward language and pause often to check in with them, ensuring they feel heard and supported. Kennedy concludes that becoming a better parent involves embracing honesty, even when it's challenging. This means facing your own discomfort, trusting your children's perceptions, and guiding them through tough topics with patience and care. It's about showing them that it's okay not to have all the answers, and that they can rely on you for comfort and understanding in any situation. Chapter 10, Self-Care. In her insightful discussion, Becky Kennedy emphasizes the importance of balancing self-care and parenting. She warns against the common pitfall of parents sacrificing their own needs for their children's sake, arguing this approach is detrimental to both parties. Kennedy stresses that kids shouldn't see their mom as someone who did everything or put them first, suggesting these phrases indicate an unhealthy parenting style. Instead, she aspires for her children to remember her as a model of self-care and balance, saying things like, "My mom knew when she needed time for herself." The author argues that good parenting doesn't mean losing one's identity. It's about nurturing kids while simultaneously growing as an individual. This perspective is crucial in today's world of intense parenting, where many believe raising children requires giving up personal needs and identity. Kennedy identifies several reasons why parents struggle with self-care. These include the fear of being selfish, pressure to constantly improve their kids' lives, and lack of time or energy after a long day. For parents juggling multiple jobs or dealing with unreliable childcare, self-care can seem like an unattainable luxury. Despite these challenges, Kennedy advocates for setting boundaries around self-care. She believes children feel safer and more secure when they see their parents confidently managing their own needs, demonstrating leadership with a strong sense of self. The author acknowledges the guilt parents often feel when prioritizing their own well-being. She recalls scenarios where choosing a moment of self-care, like skipping a playdate or taking a walk, can lead to protests from kids who crave constant attention. However, Kennedy asserts that children actually benefit from witnessing parental self-care. Kennedy recommends starting with self-compassion for those struggling with self-neglect. She suggests recognizing that the inclination to put others first was likely learned in early childhood and is now ingrained in one's behavior. This understanding can pave the way for change, leading parents to shift their mindset from "I'm being selfish" to "I'm working on a new pattern of self-awareness and self-worth." The author introduces several practical self-care strategies tailored for busy parents. First, she highlights the power of deep breathing, a foundational technique for managing stress. Kennedy suggests imagining smelling hot cocoa as you inhale slowly and exhaling, just as slowly to fully enjoy the calming effects. This hot cocoa breath method can be practiced alone or with children, serving as a simple yet effective tool for centering oneself amidst chaos. Second, Kennedy introduces the Acknowledge, Validate, Permit AVP strategy. This approach encourages parents to acknowledge their feelings without judgment, validate their emotions by understanding why they're occurring, and permit themselves to experience these emotions fully. By adopting this mindset, parents can better regulate their responses to stressful situations, promoting a healthier emotional environment for both themselves and their children. Third, Kennedy stresses the importance of learning to assert one's needs without concern for others' inconvenience. She encourages parents to accept that they cannot control how others react to their self-care decisions, but must prioritize their own well-being nonetheless. This might involve saying no to requests or making unpopular choices, like choosing a personal preference over a child's, to demonstrate that personal needs are equally important in the family dynamic. Fourth, Kennedy suggests beginning with small acts of self-care, if larger commitments seem daunting. Simple activities like drinking water, meditating briefly, or journaling can be powerful starting points for reclaiming personal time and attention. Lastly, she emphasizes the necessity of repair, not just in relationships with children, but also within oneself. Parents must practice self-forgiveness when they make mistakes or lose their temper, reminding themselves that these moments do not define their overall worth as individuals or parents. Throughout her discussion, Kennedy weaves practical advice with deeper insights into the dynamics of parental self-care and identity. Her message is clear. Effective parenting involves nurturing oneself just as diligently as nurturing one's children. Chapter 11, Building Connection Capital. Dr. Becky Kennedy, a child psychologist, often encounters families in turmoil, much like the one she recently consulted with the Smith family. The Smiths were overwhelmed by their children's tantrums, rudeness, and constant arguments. Heston, their eldest at 10 years old, was feeling unloved and friendless, often muttering such sentiments to his parents. Meanwhile, Izzy, the 4-year-old, would wail every morning before preschool drop-offs, creating a draining routine for everyone involved. Dr. Kennedy reassured them that their issues weren't isolated problems, but symptoms of a larger imbalance within their family system. The children didn't feel secure or safe, which was the root cause of their misbehavior. She explained that in parenting, behavior isn't the primary issue. It's merely a sign of deeper concerns. To turn things around, they needed to focus on strengthening their connections first. Dr. Kennedy introduced several bang-for-your-buck strategies to foster this connection. These aren't quick fixes, but fundamental tools for rebuilding family relationships and restoring harmony. One such strategy is Play No Phone (PNP) time. This involves spending uninterrupted, distraction-free time with your child without any phones or screens around. The goal is to fully engage in their world, letting them direct the play while you simply observe, imitate, reflect, and describe what they're doing. Even a brief 10-15-minute session can significantly boost connection capital, a term representing the emotional bank account between parent and child. Dr. Kennedy suggests naming this special time to emphasize its uniqueness, limiting it to 15 minutes or less, and ensuring no other distractions are present besides your undivided attention. Encourage your child to choose the activity, allowing them to feel valued and in control. This approach not only enhances connection, but also makes playtime more enjoyable for parents by eliminating digital temptations. Another strategy is the fill-up game, designed to address children's unmet emotional needs. When a child exhibits difficult behavior, instead of reacting negatively, Dr. Kennedy recommends offering comforting hugs and squeezes. She explains that kids sometimes act out because they feel emotionally depleted or overwhelmed. By physically filling them up with affection, parents help replenish their child's emotional bank account, gradually improving behavior over time. A third strategy is emotional vaccination. This involves preparing your child for potential emotional challenges by connecting and validating their feelings before the event occurs. For instance, if bedtime routines often trigger tantrums, Dr. Kennedy advises discussing the upcoming transition, acknowledging its difficulty, and practicing deep breathing exercises together ahead of time. By doing so, you help your child develop coping skills for challenging situations, making them less likely to resort to negative behaviors when faced with such moments. Lastly, Dr. Kennedy emphasizes the importance of playfulness in parenting. She notes that amidst the many responsibilities, joy and lighthearted moments are crucial for strengthening bonds. Playful activities like silly dance parties, made-up songs, or even play acting can foster a sense of security and love in children. Even if these activities seem awkward initially, the key is to create shared laughter and connection without focusing on outcomes or achievements. In essence, Dr. Kennedy advocates for a more mindful approach to parenting, prioritizing emotional connection over immediate behavior correction. By employing strategies such as PNP time, the fill-up game, emotional vaccination, and fostering playfulness, parents can rebuild their children's emotional bank accounts, ultimately transforming family dynamics for the better. Chapter 12, Not Listening. In her insightful book, Becky Kennedy discusses the common parenting issue of children not listening, which she clarifies is more about cooperation than actual listening. According to Kennedy, children often resist adults' requests because they feel disconnected or misunderstood. This isn't a sign of disrespect, but rather an indication that the parent-child relationship needs some attention. Kennedy emphasizes that how we behave when asked to do something we don't want to do mirrors children's reactions. The closer we feel to someone, the more likely we are to comply with their requests. Therefore, when kids aren't cooperating, it's crucial to view this as a relationship issue rather than a child problem. She also points out that parents often ask children to stop enjoyable activities and perform less enjoyable tasks, leading to resistance. This dynamic isn't unique. Adults wouldn't typically switch from an engaging activity like lunch with friends to cleaning someone else's toilet without a good reason. Kennedy suggests several strategies for improving cooperation. 1. Connect before you ask. Building a strong connection with your child before making requests is vital. When children feel seen and understood, they are more likely to comply. For instance, if your child has been building a tower of blocks, acknowledging their effort can pave the way for them to transition to a less exciting task like taking a bath. 2. Give your child a choice. Offering choices gives children a sense of control and makes them more likely to cooperate. For example, instead of insisting your child stop playing with friends immediately to leave, you could say, "We can leave now or play one more game." 3. Use humor. Injecting humor into requests can shift the mood and encourage cooperation. For example, pretending that listening ears have gone missing and needing help finding them can make the situation less tense and more fun. 4. Close your eyes hack. This strategy involves closing your eyes and giving a light-hearted request, like putting shoes on, before opening them again to check if the task is done. The idea is that it makes the child feel in control, fostering trust and cooperation. 5. Role reversal game. This game involves swapping roles where the child becomes the parent, giving orders to the adult within safe limits. It helps children understand what parents go through when making requests and builds empathy. Kennedy illustrates these strategies with a story about Sonia and her son Felix. When Felix doesn't listen, Sonia recalls that listening is cooperation, and cooperation comes from connection. She then plays the role reversal game with him, which he enjoys. Later, when asking Felix to clean his room, Sonia connects with him by acknowledging his fun activity and giving him a choice about when to do the chore. This approach results in less resistance from Felix. In essence, Kennedy's advice encourages parents to view cooperation as a sign of a strong relationship rather than a reflection of poor behavior. By building connections, offering choices, using humor, employing strategies like close your eyes hack, and playing the role reversal game, parents can foster better cooperation and strengthen their bond with their children. Chapter 13, Emotional Tantrums. In the realm of child development, tantrums are not only normal, but also essential. Becky Kennedy, our expert guide, clarifies that these outbursts aren't about defiance. They're signs of a child overwhelmed by emotional demands. 3-year-old Ezra's ice cream tantrum exemplifies this perfectly. His intense reaction stems from not getting what he wants, ice cream for breakfast, despite understanding that it's not an option. Kennedy explains that tantrums occur when a child's desire is thwarted, leading to feelings of frustration, disappointment, and sadness. Tantrums are biological states of dysregulation, not willful acts of disobedience. They're children's ways of expressing their strong wants, even when faced with no. Parents might find tantrums challenging and exhausting, but they play a crucial role in shaping a child's ability to recognize and assert their desires later in life. Kennedy stresses that trying to stop tantrums isn't the goal. Instead, parents should encourage confidence and assertiveness. If kids always comply when young, they might struggle with self-expression as adults. So, while managing dangerous behaviors during a tantrum is important, stopping them entirely isn't ideal. Underneath every tantrum lies a child feeling overwhelmed or in pain due to built-up distress, a mix of frustration, disappointment, and sadness. Comparing this to adult experiences, Kennedy notes that we also have our meltdown moments when too many negative events pile up, leading to a release of pent-up emotions. Recognizing tantrums as signs of emotional overload rather than spoiled behavior is key. Parents should be mindful not to react only to the outward display, but to acknowledge the underlying feelings. This understanding forms the basis for effective parenting strategies during tantrums, which Kennedy details below. 1. Remind yourself of your own goodness. Parental struggles with tantrums often stem from self-doubt, questions like, "What's wrong with me?" Or, "Am I failing at this parenting thing?" Kennedy suggests using positive affirmations, such as, "Nothing is wrong with me." "Nothing is wrong with my child. I can cope with this," to maintain composure during a tantrum. 2. Two things are true. Kids need to understand that they have control over their actions, but not over parents' decisions, and that it's okay to feel upset about it. This means affirming both, "I'm in charge of this decision and my answer is no," and "You're in charge of your feelings and you're allowed to be upset." 3. Name the wish. Identifying the unmet desire behind a tantrum, like wanting ice cream for breakfast or more independence, can help a child feel seen and understood, fostering safety and emotional well-being. 4. Validate the magnitude. Acknowledge the intensity of a child's feelings to help them comprehend their emotions better. For instance, if Ezra is upset about not getting ice cream, Orly might say, "You're feeling so big and strong about this wish for ice cream." This approach reassures children that their feelings are valid and understandable. In her narrative, Kennedy illustrates these strategies through Ezra's tantrum. Orly keeps calm, remembering she's there to manage the situation rather than halt it. She validates Ezra's feelings by acknowledging his wish for ice cream and the intensity of his emotions. By doing so, she teaches Ezra that his feelings are okay, fostering emotional regulation skills essential for his development. Thus, according to Becky Kennedy, understanding tantrums as part of healthy child development is crucial. It's about recognizing the feelings behind the outburst and responding with empathy rather than trying to shut it down. This approach not only aids in managing tantrums, but also nurtures confident, assertive adults. Chapter 14, Aggressive Tantrums. Becky Kennedy, in her insightful exploration, delves into the world of parenting and offers valuable guidance on handling children's tantrums. She emphasizes that even intense tantrums, such as Liam's over the blue water bottle, are a normal part of child development. Kids at this age have underdeveloped prefrontal cortexes, making it challenging for them to manage their strong feelings and impulses. Their frontal lobes, responsible for controlling impulses and regulating emotions, aren't fully grown yet. This means that when Liam can't have the blue bottle, or when Charlotte gets it first, his brain perceives this as a dangerous threat. In response, he reacts with fierce self-protection, throwing bottles and hitting his mom, Allison. According to Kennedy, these extreme outbursts aren't about misbehavior, but rather a child's struggle to handle overwhelming sensations within their body. Liam is scared, not angry or bad, as he doesn't understand why he's feeling this way. His brain is in fight-or-flight mode, flooding his system with stress hormones like cortisol, escalating his breathing and heart rate. Kennedy advises parents to assert their authority during these moments. It's not about dominating the child, but rather providing necessary containment. When Liam starts throwing bottles, Allison should step in, saying firmly, "You can't throw water bottles." Then pause, take a breath, and continue, "I won't let you throw water bottles." This phrase, "I won't let you," is crucial. It shows the child that their parent is in control and will stop dangerous behavior, acting as a protective measure rather than punishment. Allison needs to physically intervene, perhaps picking up Liam and moving him to a safe space like his room. She should stay calm, even if Liam kicks or screams, because children need to see that their feelings won't overwhelm the entire situation. Allison's calm presence communicates safety and control, helping Liam regulate his emotions. Kennedy also suggests differentiating between urges and actions. It's okay for Liam to have the urge to hit or throw bottles. It's the act itself that's problematic. Offering safer alternatives, like a chew necklace for biting, can help redirect these urges, aiding in better emotional regulation over time. In essence, Kennedy underscores the importance of empathy and understanding during tantrums. Instead of focusing on the child's misbehavior, parents should see their child as scared and overwhelmed. By providing containment, physical and emotional safety, parents help children navigate intense feelings, promoting healthier coping mechanisms in the future. In Liam's case, Allison responds by not taking his harsh words personally, but recognizing they're aimed at his scary feelings. She carries him to his room, assuring him she's there to help and isn't upset with him. Despite Liam's resistance, screaming, "I hate you," Allison maintains her calm, stepping out briefly only to compose herself before returning. Her unwavering presence, coupled with understanding words, helps Liam regulate his emotions and eventually feel safe enough to ask for a hug. Kennedy's approach encourages parents to see tantrums not as battles of wills, but as opportunities to nurture their child's emotional resilience. It's about showing kids they can rely on their caregivers, even when they're most vulnerable and upset. This kind of parenting fosters a secure attachment, preparing children for managing strong feelings well into adulthood. Chapter 15, Sibling Rivalry. Becky Kennedy explains why siblings often argue and provides strategies for parents to foster better relationships between their children. She uses the analogy that having a new sibling feels like your partner bringing home a second spouse, which might cause feelings of confusion, insecurity, and rivalry among older kids. Kennedy suggests that when parents view sibling conflicts through an attachment lens, they can better understand their children's behaviors. Kids are constantly trying to feel secure and seen within the family. When a new sibling enters, it can trigger feelings of insecurity in older children who may perceive this sibling as a threat to their bond with their parents. Parents should acknowledge that siblings naturally have mixed feelings about each other, ranging from love to jealousy and rivalry. Trying to force constant harmony between them can escalate conflicts. Instead, Kennedy recommends focusing on PNP time, which stands for Parent-Child Never-Ending Time, dedicated one-on-one time with each parent. This builds a child's security, allowing them to view their siblings as playmates rather than rivals. Kennedy advises against the misguided pursuit of fairness in family dynamics, arguing it often fuels competition and hypervigilance among children. Instead, she proposes an individual needs approach where parents validate each child's feelings without necessarily making things equal. For instance, if a child cries, "Not fair," the parent should acknowledge their disappointment. "It's hard to see your brother get new shoes," rather than immediately offering equal rewards to prevent further comparisons. Kennedy also emphasizes the importance of allowing children to express negative feelings directly to parents, rather than acting them out on siblings. She advises against tolerating name-calling or put-downs between siblings, viewing such behavior as bullying. In dangerous situations, physical altercations or cruel words, parents should step in immediately. In less severe disputes, they should slow down and guide children through narrating their perspectives without taking sides, helping them learn conflict resolution skills. For example, Ray, Hari's father, handles the block incident skillfully. He models self-regulation by taking deep breaths, doesn't instantly decide who's right or wrong, and encourages both kids to find a solution together. This teaches them problem-solving rather than relying on adult intervention for every conflict. Ray also notices that his children might be struggling with the new sibling situation and plans PNP time for each of them, showing he understands their individual needs. Kennedy's approach encourages parents to accept sibling rivalry as a normal part of family life, fostering understanding and regulation over immediate resolution or fairness. It also stresses the significance of individual attention in building secure, well-adjusted children who can manage complex feelings towards their siblings. Chapter 16, Rudeness and Defiance. Becky Kennedy explains that when children exhibit rudeness or defiance, parents have two primary ways to view the situation: through disrespect or emotion dysregulation. Parents often gravitate towards seeing it as disrespect, but understanding it as a child's struggle with managing big feelings can be more beneficial. Kids typically lack strong emotion regulation skills. The larger and more intense the feeling, the harder it is for them to manage it appropriately. This often results in defiant actions or harsh words, which adults might interpret as disrespect. However, Kennedy suggests that these behaviors are a cry for understanding rather than a deliberate act of disrespect. For instance, if a parent tells their child they can't play video games and the child plays them anyway, a lens of disrespect would interpret this as the child not respecting rules or authority. Conversely, viewing it through emotion dysregulation sees the child having difficulty dealing with their disappointment and frustration, leading to defiance. Parents, when seeing such behavior, might feel upset and want to punish, driven by the discomfort of not being respected or obeyed. But Kennedy advises against this approach. Instead, she recommends acknowledging the child's intense feelings as a sign that they need help understanding and managing those emotions. Kennedy proposes strategies for parents to handle defiant behavior. 1. Don't take the bait. This involves not reacting directly to the surface-level rudeness, but recognizing it as a manifestation of deeper feelings. For example, if a child says, "I hate you," instead of immediately punishing, say, "You seem really upset. Let's talk about this later." 2. Embody your authority. In the face of defiance, maintain your role as a parent by setting boundaries and providing structure. Use calm and assertive language. For example, if a child is jumping on the couch, say, "I understand you want to move around, but we don't jump on furniture." 3. State the truth. When introducing rules, be transparent about the reasons behind them. This helps children understand and prepare for potential disappointments. For instance, saying, "No video games until your homework is done," clearly communicates expectations. 4. Connect and build regulation during calm moments. After intense moments, focus on reconnecting with your child emotionally. Kennedy calls these PNP time, positive, nurturing, and patient moments. Engage in shared activities or conversations that reinforce your bond and teach emotional management. In the story of Farah and Heather, we see this advice in action. When Farah becomes upset about not being able to go to her friend's house, Heather initially acknowledges Farah's feelings rather than reacting with anger or punishment. Later, when they're both calm, Heather shares a similar experience from her childhood, reinforcing their bond and showing empathy. By adopting these strategies, parents can foster better communication, improve their relationship with their children, and help kids develop healthier ways to manage their emotions. Chapter 17, Whining. In her enlightening exploration, Becky Kennedy delves into the intricacies of parenting, particularly focusing on understanding and managing children's whining behavior. She posits that whining often arises from feelings of helplessness in kids and triggers strong reactions in parents. Kennedy argues that when a child whines about needing something, like Adez does for a sharp pencil, it's not merely about the request itself. Instead, it's a sign of the child feeling overwhelmed or powerless. Parents who grew up in environments where vulnerability was discouraged might find whining especially irritating because they've learned to suppress such feelings themselves. She suggests that recognizing this dynamic is crucial for effective parenting. If we acknowledge our own past experiences with helplessness, we can respond better when our children whine. For instance, instead of instantly reaching for a new pencil, Imani could take a moment to breathe and reframe the situation humorously, making her less likely to react negatively. Kennedy proposes several strategies to handle whining. One is embracing our own inner whiner. By acknowledging that it's okay to feel powerless and need help, we reduce the intensity of our reaction when our children whine. Another strategy involves using humor. Adult playfulness can connect with a child's whining, transforming a potentially tense moment into one filled with laughter and understanding. Kennedy also recommends restating the child's request in our own voice, without asking them to redo it in a stronger tone. This approach prevents unnecessary power struggles and keeps interactions calm. Additionally, she emphasizes seeing beyond the whining to the underlying needs: more attention, connection, warmth, empathy, or validation. Responding with these in mind, such as squatting down to their level, empathizing with their plight, or allowing them an emotional release, can help children feel understood and supported. In the story of Adez and Imani, we see these principles at work. When Adez whines for a sharp pencil, Imani doesn't immediately comply, but instead uses humor to diffuse the situation. She pretends to throw away the whines, and then calmly gets her a new pencil. This method not only keeps tensions low, but also fosters a more positive interaction between mother and daughter. By applying these strategies, parents can navigate whining episodes with greater patience and understanding, creating a nurturing environment where children feel heard and supported. Chapter 18, Lying. In her insightful exploration of child behavior, Becky Kennedy delves into the reasons why children lie and offers parents valuable strategies for understanding and addressing this common issue. Kids often lie because the line between reality and fantasy can be blurry for them. They frequently engage in pretend play, where they control their actions and outcomes. When asked about an event they were involved in, like breaking a lamp, a child might slip into fantasy to cope with feelings of guilt or fear of disappointing their parents. Instead of seeing this as defiance, Kennedy suggests viewing it as the child's way of seeking control and a more favorable outcome. Another reason children lie is due to attachment concerns. They worry that telling the truth might push them away from their loved ones. The need for security and closeness with parents drives this behavior. When a child anticipates punishment or rejection, they may lie rather than face it. This, according to Kennedy, is a form of self-defense more than manipulation. Lastly, children might lie to assert their independence. As humans, we all have an innate need for autonomy and individuality. For kids, lying can be a way to carve out personal space and experiences away from parental influence. This need to feel unique and self-governing often underlies instances of dishonesty. Kennedy proposes several strategies for parents dealing with lies. 1. Reframe the lie as a wish. Rather than focusing on the lie itself, view it as an expression of your child's desires or fears. For example, if Jake says, "I didn't knock down my sister's tower," Kennedy suggests responding with empathy. You wish the tower was still standing, and it can be tough when things don't go as planned. 2. Wait and provide an opening later. When a child is defensive or guilt-ridden about a lie, Kennedy advises pausing and giving them space. Later, in a calm moment, gently offer understanding. For instance, Dara might later say to Jake, "I understand it was hard when Owen called you names. It's okay to feel angry." 3. The "if it did happen" strategy. This involves acknowledging the potential truth and expressing support without directly confronting the lie. For example, Dara could say to Jake, "If you did push Owen because he hurt your feelings, we can talk about better ways to handle anger." 4. Ask about their needs. Have a conversation with your child outside of the lying incident. Ask them what they need to feel safe enough to tell the truth. This approach works best with older children who can articulate their needs. In Becky Kennedy's narrative, Dara and Jake embody these strategies. When Jake denies pushing Owen, Dara pauses, affirming her love for him regardless. Later, when Jake opens up about being teased by Owen, Dara focuses on building their bond rather than scolding him. This demonstrates how parents can navigate lying situations with empathy and understanding. Through these strategies, Kennedy encourages parents to view lying as a sign of their children's inner worlds, their wishes, fears, and need for autonomy, rather than as a deliberate attempt at deception. By fostering open communication and understanding, parents can create an environment where honesty thrives. Chapter 19, Fears and Anxiety. According to Becky Kennedy, understanding fear and anxiety in children is crucial for parents. Fear is essentially the body's reaction to perceived threats, causing physical sensations like a racing heart or knotted stomach. This is not something children exaggerate, they genuinely feel scared. When faced with a fear, children often cling to their parents, seeking comfort and safety. Parents might feel frustrated, unsure of how to proceed. For instance, in the story, Leo's daughter Blake is terrified by a campfire. Leo tries to reassure her that she's safe, but Blake's cries and clinginess continue. Kennedy emphasizes that parents shouldn't try to rationalize away a child's fears or convince them not to be scared. This approach rarely works because when kids are afraid, their logical thinking part of the brain shuts off due to the stress response. They need reassurance of safety more than logic at this moment. Instead of trying to reason with Blake, Leo should focus on being there for her, showing her she's not alone in her fear. By doing so, he helps Blake transition from feeling danger, I am in danger, to feeling secure, I am safe. This connection is vital. Kennedy suggests a few strategies for parents. 1. Jump into the hole with them. Imagine your child's fear as a hole they're stuck in. Instead of trying to pull them out, jump in the hole with them metaphorically, of course. Show empathy and understanding. For Blake, Leo could say, "You're really scared of that fire, aren't you? It feels huge and scary to me too when I think about it." 2. Dry runs. These are practice sessions for the situations causing anxiety. Instead of avoiding the trigger, embrace it. For Blake's fear of fire, Leo could simulate a small, safe fire at home. This helps children understand that they can manage their fears. 3. Script for addressing specific fears. Kennedy proposes a step-by-step process to talk about fears constructively. Step 1. Listen and learn about the fear without judgment or advice. Step 2. Validate the child's feelings, explaining why they make sense. Step 3. Express appreciation for discussing the fear. This validates their emotions. Step 4. Work together to brainstorm solutions. Step 5. Create a comforting mantra for the child to use during anxious moments. Step 6. Share a personal story about overcoming a similar fear. In Blake's case, Leo decides to jump into the hole with her. He acknowledges her fear of the fire, telling her he understands why she feels scared and assuring her that it's okay to be nervous. This validates Blake's feelings, making her less alone in her fear. By adopting these strategies, parents like Leo can better support their children through anxiety and fear, fostering a stronger, more empathetic parent-child bond. Chapter 20, Hesitation and Shyness. In her insightful chapter, Becky Kennedy explores the dynamics between parents and their shy or hesitant children, using Jai and his mother Nala as a case study. She emphasizes that shyness isn't an issue to be fixed in children, but rather a trait that often stirs more anxiety in parents. Kennedy points out that many parents feel frustrated or embarrassed when their child doesn't want to join group activities, like Jai hiding behind Nala at a birthday party. This response, however, isn't a reflection of poor parenting. It's a sign of the parent's own anxiety about their child's behavior. The author advises against trying to alter a child's personality to fit societal norms or parental expectations. Instead, she suggests focusing on self-reflection and understanding one's reactions. For instance, if a child prefers staying close during social gatherings, it doesn't mean they'll always be introverted. It might simply indicate they need time to feel comfortable. Kennedy proposes several strategies for parents to better support their hesitant children. Firstly, she encourages parents to check in with themselves. This involves acknowledging any discomfort or urges felt when a child is shy, but understanding that these feelings don't define good parenting. Instead of pushing the child, parents should try viewing the situation positively, seeing their child's cautiousness as a sign of self-awareness and confidence. Secondly, she advocates for validation and setting boundaries respectfully. When a child is hesitant or shy, it's crucial to validate their feelings rather than trying to persuade them out of it. She suggests using phrases like, "You'll know when you're ready," which shows trust in the child and helps build self-confidence. Thirdly, preparation can be key for hesitant children. Talking about what to expect at social events, including potential challenges or emotions, can help them feel more in control and less anxious. Lastly, Kennedy warns against labeling children as shy or reserved. Labels can limit a child's potential and growth. Instead, she recommends offering generous interpretations of their behavior, emphasizing that it's okay to take time figuring out what feels comfortable. In the story of Jai and Nala, we see these strategies in action. After realizing her harsh words upset Jai, Nala reflects on her reaction. She apologizes for pushing him to join the party and promises to respect his pace next time. Before a subsequent playdate, they discuss what to expect, validating his feelings. This approach boosts Jai's confidence, allowing him to gradually join in with his peers. Kennedy's wisdom underscores that understanding, patience, and respect are essential in navigating the complexities of parenting a hesitant child. It encourages parents to recognize their own emotions, validate their child's feelings, prepare them for social situations, and avoid rigid labels. By doing so, they foster an environment where their child feels safe to explore their comfort zone at their own pace, ultimately nurturing confidence and self-assurance. Chapter 21, Frustration Intolerance. According to Becky Kennedy, understanding and managing frustration is crucial for both parents and children. This concept revolves around the idea that challenges and difficulties are not signs of failure, but rather stepping stones towards learning and growth. Kennedy uses Breeden, a 4-year-old who struggles with puzzles, as an example. When Breeden's dad, Ethan, becomes frustrated and points out the puzzle piece's color mismatch, it reinforces Breeden's belief that he's bad at puzzles. This reaction, according to Kennedy, demonstrates how adults can inadvertently undermine a child's confidence when they face challenges. Kennedy emphasizes that to help children develop frustration tolerance, parents must first embrace their own discomfort with their kids' struggles. Instead of rushing to solve problems or offering quick fixes, parents should allow children the space and time to work through difficulties independently. The author introduces the concept of a growth mindset, coined by psychologist Carol Dweck. This mindset encourages viewing challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than threats to one's intelligence or abilities. People with a growth mindset believe their skills can be improved through effort and persistence, even in the face of setbacks. Kennedy suggests several strategies for parents. 1. Deep breaths. When a child gets frustrated, taking deep breaths can model self-regulation and calmness. This practice not only helps adults stay composed, but also shows children that frustration doesn't need to control their responses. 2. Mantras. Creating simple, comforting phrases like, "I can do hard things," or "This is tricky, but I can stay with it," can help kids navigate through challenging moments. These mantras should be introduced casually, as personal anecdotes rather than direct instructions. 3. Framing frustration. Kennedy encourages viewing frustration not as a sign of failure, but as an indicator that learning is happening. By acknowledging this, children are more likely to persevere through difficult tasks. 4. Establish growth mindset family values. Setting and consistently reinforcing values like embracing challenges, valuing effort over immediate success, accepting not knowing as part of the learning process, and understanding that hard work fosters brain growth can help shape a child's mindset. 5. Shift focus from success to coping. Instead of fixating on achieving specific results, parents should prioritize teaching their children how to cope with frustrating feelings and difficult tasks. This approach ensures children develop resilience in the face of adversity. 6. Emotional vaccination, dry runs, and shared stories. Anticipating and preparing for challenges, emotional vaccination, practicing tasks ahead of time, dry runs, and sharing personal stories about overcoming frustrations can make children feel less alone in their struggles, thereby fostering resilience. In Breeden's case, Kennedy proposes Ethan should first manage his own frustration through deep breaths and self-compassion. Then, Ethan could apologize for his reaction and share that everyone finds some things challenging, including puzzles. Instead of jumping in to solve the puzzle immediately, Ethan should demonstrate persistence alongside Breeden, occasionally struggling with pieces himself, and softly humming a mantra about perseverance. By implementing these strategies, parents can cultivate an environment that not only tolerates, but also celebrates children's struggles as essential parts of the learning process, fostering growth and resilience in their kids. Chapter 22: Food and Eating Habits. In the realm of parenting, few things can be as fraught with tension and self-doubt as mealtime interactions with children. Becky Kennedy, a writer well-versed in simplifying complex topics, delves into this issue, focusing on how parents can navigate these challenges to foster healthier relationships with their kids around food. Kids' eating habits often stir up significant anxiety for parents. This unease isn't merely about nutrition. It's deeply rooted in a parent's sense of responsibility and capability. The way children respond to the meals we prepare can feel like a reflection of our parenting skills, making us question whether we're meeting their needs effectively. Consider Gia, a 5-year-old with an affinity for snack foods. Her mother, Eva, often grapples with Gia's demands for goldfish crackers just before dinner. Eva's initial reaction is to acquiesce, worrying that denying Gia a snack might leave her hungry and unhappy until the main meal. Yet, this approach can backfire when Gia refuses to eat her dinner after satisfying her immediate craving for goldfish. Kennedy explains that these power struggles over food are more than just about sustenance. They're also about control and autonomy. When children insist on certain foods or resist eating what's served, they're essentially asking questions. What decisions am I allowed to make? And when can I have a say in things? To break this cycle, Kennedy suggests turning to the work of Ellen Satter, a dietitian, psychotherapist, and author. Satter's division of responsibility, DUAR, model outlines clear roles for both parents and children regarding food decisions. 1. Parents decide what, when, and where meals are offered. 2. Children decide whether to eat and how much. This framework supports healthy eating habits while fostering self-regulation, self-confidence, and consent in children. By clearly defining these roles, parents can feel secure in their responsibilities regardless of their child's food choices. For instance, Eva can reassure herself she's done her job correctly by ensuring a balanced meal is on the table at the designated time. Whether Gia eats it or not becomes Gia's prerogative. Kennedy emphasizes that minimizing anxiety around food is crucial, often more so than ensuring consumption itself. Mealtimes should be stress-free zones where children can explore their autonomy, a concept encapsulated in Satter's model. It's about setting boundaries while respecting a child's burgeoning independence. To implement this effectively, Kennedy proposes several strategies. 1. Mantra. Develop a personal mantra that reminds you of your role as a parent during mealtimes. For example, my only jobs are the what, when, where. I can do that. This helps manage anxiety and reinforces focus on one's responsibilities. 2. Explain roles. Have open conversations with your children about who's in charge of what when it comes to food. Clearly articulate Satter's division of responsibility, clarifying that parents decide the what, when, where, while children dictate whether and how much they eat. 3. Dessert-specific strategies. Approach dessert without linking it to meal consumption. Parents decide if, when, and what kind of dessert is served. Kids then choose if and how much they consume. 4. Snack-specific strategies. Establish a snack routine based on your family's needs, understanding there's no universally right way to handle snacks. The key is ensuring it aligns with your family dynamics and objectives. 5. Tolerate pushback, accept that disagreements may occur. When children protest or throw tantrums due to food choices, remember that this is part of their exploration of autonomy. Parents must stay firm in their roles while acknowledging their child's feelings and needs. For Gia and Eva, this might look like Eva asserting her role as the decision-maker for meals and snack times, offering goldfish crackers at dinner, but not as an afternoon snack. If Gia objects, Eva can reassure her that alternatives like fruit and cheese will be available before 3 p.m., while also validating Gia's feelings and standing firm on the new rules. By embracing these principles, parents like Eva can transform mealtimes from battles of wills into moments of mutual respect and growth, ultimately strengthening their bond with their children. Chapter 23, Consent. In the world of parenting, Becky Kennedy presents a unique perspective on fostering body sovereignty in children. Body sovereignty, she explains, is the understanding that each individual has absolute control over their own body, deciding who touches them, for how long, and at what times. Kennedy introduces this concept through the story of 4-year-old Kiki and her 7-year-old brother Lex visiting their grandparents. When Grandpa hugs Lex but Kiki runs away, it highlights a common conflict, the desire to please others versus respecting one's own body boundaries. Kennedy emphasizes the importance of instilling in children the belief that they are the only ones who know what feels right for them. She encourages parents to teach their kids phrases like, "I am in charge of my body," and "I can say no if I want." This isn't just about hugs, but about every moment where a child might feel uncomfortable or unsure, like joining a birthday party, enduring a joke, stopping at mealtime, or exploring a dark basement. She underscores that children learn to trust their bodies and their decisions from observing how parents handle such situations. If parents validate these feelings, kids develop confidence in their own boundaries. Conversely, if adults dismiss these feelings, children may start doubting themselves, a condition Kennedy calls self-doubt. Examples of building consent circuits include affirming a child's feelings. "You're cold, I believe you." Instead of dismissing them, "It doesn't feel cold to me." On the other hand, self-doubt is reinforced when parents insist, "You're just being dramatic." Kennedy advises against using phrases like dramatic or overly sensitive, as they undermine a child's trust in their own body signals. Instead, she suggests phrases like, "There's something about," when the cause of distress isn't clear to adults. She also recommends teaching children that consent is a matter of respecting individual boundaries. A parent might say, "You're the only one who knows how you feel," reinforcing the idea that only the child can determine their comfort level in any situation. Furthermore, Kennedy encourages parents to engage in Socratic questioning with their kids, thought-provoking conversations about decision-making and assertiveness. These chats help children understand the complexity of consent and asserting one's needs even when others might be upset. When it comes to Kiki and her mom Tasha, Becky Kennedy suggests a supportive approach. Tasha should affirm Kiki's decision not to hug Grandpa by saying, "You're the only one who knows what feels right for you." She could also explain that it's okay if Grandpa is sad. Everyone has feelings when their wishes aren't met. Tasha then asks her dad not to undermine her parenting approach with mixed messages. This way, Kiki learns the value of respecting her own body boundaries, a lesson applicable throughout her life. By emphasizing self-trust and boundary respect from an early age, parents can nurture confident, assertive children who understand the concept of consent deeply. Chapter 24, Tears. In the realm of parenting, Becky Kennedy emphasizes the importance of understanding and responding to children's tears. She highlights that tears are a natural way for kids to express their feelings and signal a need for emotional support. Abdullah, a father of 7-year-old Yusuf, receives an email informing him that his son didn't make the travel baseball team. Abdullah then tells Yusuf about this news, noticing his son's initial reaction of sadness. In such moments, Kennedy suggests that parents should be mindful of their responses to avoid triggering feelings of shame or guilt related to crying. Kennedy poses a reflective question. If you found yourself unexpectedly on the verge of tears while talking to a friend, how would you feel? She presents 3 possible reactions: feeling like crying is ridiculous, worrying about making your friend uncomfortable, or curiously wondering what your body might be trying to communicate. Our reaction to these hypothetical tears reveals much about our own family dynamics. Tears, Kennedy asserts, are a child's way of signaling for emotional connection and support. However, our personal histories often shape how we view crying. If a parent was taught to suppress their own tears, they might react negatively when their child cries, perpetuating a cycle of shame around emotional expression. Kennedy advocates for parents to respect and understand their children's tears rather than judging them. She suggests that tears are a sign of deep feelings and can be a child's way of processing intense emotions. This approach encourages empathy, fostering a healthier emotional environment at home. When dealing with fake tears, crying potentially used as a tactic to gain attention or avoid disappointment, Kennedy proposes rethinking the concept. Instead of viewing them as manipulative, she encourages parents to consider the underlying unmet needs that might be driving such behavior. Kennedy provides several strategies for better parenting. 1. Talk about tears. Discuss crying with your child at non-emotional times. Share instances where you've cried, normalizing the experience and showing your child they're not alone in their feelings. 2. Connect tears with importance. Explain to your child that tears indicate significant internal events, even if the cause isn't immediately clear. This approach teaches children patience in understanding their emotions. 3. Socratic questioning. Encourage deep thinking about crying by asking open-ended questions. This method promotes a more nuanced view of tears beyond the stereotype of weakness. In Abdullah's case, he decides to respond empathetically when Yusuf starts to cry. Instead of distracting or dismissing his son's feelings, Abdullah validates them, acknowledging Yusuf's disappointment and offering comfort. He reassures Yusuf that it's okay to cry, echoing the teachings of Kennedy. In doing so, Abdullah not only consoles his son, but also strengthens their bond, creating a moment of genuine connection that resonates deeply with both father and child. Chapter 25, Building Confidence. In the realm of parenting, Becky Kennedy offers unique insights into building confidence in children. She challenges the common belief that confidence stems from feeling good about oneself, proposing instead that it's about accepting all feelings as valid. This perspective allows children to trust their emotions and fosters a strong internal compass. Kennedy uses the example of 6-year-old Charlie, who feels upset after a game of tag. His mother, Clara, contemplates whether she should downplay his feelings or highlight his talents in other areas like chess and art. However, Kennedy suggests a different approach for Clara. According to Kennedy, confidence isn't about feeling happy or proud all the time. Instead, it's the ability to acknowledge feelings without judgment, understanding that they are real and acceptable. It's about trusting oneself in various emotional states, much like being comfortable at home with diverse feelings. Kennedy illustrates this with an adult scenario. Imagine you're in a crucial meeting with your boss, but realize you don't understand what they're saying. Confidence, she explains, isn't about pretending to know or feeling confused and ashamed. It's about trusting that feeling and expressing it honestly. For instance, you might say, "I'm a bit lost here, could we go over this again?" Unfortunately, many parents try to reassure their children out of distress or disappointment, which Kennedy argues can undermine confidence. By insisting on happiness or pride when a child is sad or disappointed, adults can inadvertently teach kids not to trust their own feelings. Kennedy suggests that instead of invalidating emotions, parents should validate them. This doesn't mean ignoring the pain, but acknowledging it and affirming its legitimacy. For instance, when Charlie says he's slow and always gets tagged last, Clara could respond by saying, "You felt really frustrated during that game, didn't you? It's okay to feel this way." Furthermore, Kennedy emphasizes the importance of internal validation over external praise. Phrases like "good job" or "you're so smart" might seem positive, but they can instill a dependency on others' approval rather than fostering self-validation. Instead, she recommends commenting on effort and process, like noticing how hard a child works on a project, rather than just praising the end result. Lastly, Kennedy advises focusing on children's inner qualities over external achievements. She suggests valuing effort, attitude, and willingness to try new things more than winning or accolades. This encourages kids to value their intrinsic selves rather than their accomplishments or labels. In Charlie's case, Clara applies these principles by validating his feelings instead of distracting from them. She shares her own past struggles with sports, showing him that even if something feels hard right now, it doesn't define his worth or abilities. By doing so, she reinforces self-trust and acceptance in Charlie, helping him develop genuine confidence. Chapter 26, Perfectionism. In the world of child development, Becky Kennedy sheds light on an essential aspect: understanding and addressing perfectionism in children. This trait is more than just a desire for precision. It's often a reflection of an emotional regulation struggle. 5-year-old Freya, for instance, becomes distressed when her writing doesn't match her ideal vision. She insists on perfect spelling, refusing to write unless guided word by word. Her mom, Aislinn, watches this unfold, feeling helpless. According to Kennedy, perfectionism isn't about being picky. It's a response to the gap between what a child expects and what they achieve. Perfectionistic children, like Freya, often experience intense mood swings, feeling on top of the world one moment, then crushed the next. Their self-worth is fragile, confined within a narrow, good enough range. Anything less feels like failure, causing them to shut down. Kennedy suggests that parents should help these children see their perfectionism as a part of themselves, rather than trying to eliminate it. This approach avoids sending the message that parts of them are flawed or wrong. Instead, the goal is to foster a healthier relationship with perfectionism, enabling children to recognize when it takes over without losing control. Perfectionists often struggle with nuance, conflating their actions with their identity. For example, acing a book page signifies intelligence, while mispronouncing a word equates with stupidity. Parents can help by teaching children to differentiate between behavior and self-worth. This way, kids can feel capable even when they're learning or making mistakes. Kennedy provides several strategies for parents. 1. Make your own mistakes. Perfectionistic kids learn from observing their parents. Aislinn could model error-making and self-compassion, saying aloud, "I'm okay despite my mistakes." This teaches children to separate behavior from identity and find inner goodness amidst struggle. 2. Tell the story of the feeling underneath. When a child insists on perfection, Kennedy advises focusing on their feelings rather than the perfection itself. For instance, instead of saying, "It's okay," acknowledge the feeling like, "Not being able to do monkey bars feels frustrating." This helps children understand and manage their emotions. 3. Stuffed animal play. Using toys, parents can act out scenarios involving perfectionistic characters. For example, an excavator truck could lament about a misshapen hole. After the scene, discuss coping mechanisms, showing that it's okay to keep trying even when things aren't perfect. 4. Introduce the perfect voice. Parents can help children recognize their internal perfect voice, which pushes for perfection. By acknowledging this voice and gently pushing it aside, kids learn to make room for other, more positive self-talk. 5. Do a 180 on perfectionism. Kennedy suggests turning perfectionism on its head. Instead of winning by being perfect, celebrate the learning process itself. For example, give points not for correct answers, but for trying and learning something new. In Freya's case, Aislinn, understanding these concepts, decides not to help with spelling, encouraging instead a focus on learning. She playfully instructs Freya not to get any words right, creating a fun, pressure-free environment that helps Freya loosen her grip on perfection and embrace the joy of writing. Chapter 27, Separation Anxiety. Becky Kennedy, an expert in child development and attachment theory, explains the challenges of separation for young children, particularly in the context of starting preschool. She emphasizes that children's reactions to being apart from parents are normal and rooted in their need for security and safety, which they associate with parental presence. Kids must learn to find feelings of security in new environments or with new caregivers. a task that requires them to internalize the emotional protection provided by parents even when they're not physically present. This process can be likened to a child's inner light of security gradually brightening and becoming self-sustaining, rather than solely dependent on their parents' immediate presence. The concept of internalization is crucial in understanding children's separation needs. Kennedy suggests that kids must absorb something from their parents, a mental representation or mental picture of the parent-child bond, so they can feel secure even when their parents aren't right next to them. Transitional objects, such as a favorite blanket or stuffed animal, can aid this process by serving as tangible reminders of the parent-child relationship, offering comfort in a new setting. Kennedy notes that children's responses to separation vary widely, influenced by their individual temperaments. For instance, a child who is adventurous and even-tempered might adapt more easily to separating from parents than one who is cautious and emotionally intense. It's important not to judge these differences, but to understand and respect each child's unique experience of separation anxiety. Parents play a significant role in their children's separation experiences, especially through projecting confidence. Kids mirror their parents' anxieties, so if parents seem hesitant or worried, the child's own distress may intensify. Conversely, maintaining a calm and confident demeanor helps reassure children that everything will be okay during separations. Kennedy proposes several strategies for parents dealing with separation anxiety. 1. Check in with your own anxiety. Acknowledge your feelings about separation. While it's natural to feel sad or nervous, understand and manage these emotions so you can present a secure front to your child during drop-offs. 2. Talk about separation and feelings. Discuss upcoming separations with your child ahead of time. Describe what school or daycare will be like, and assure them that it's normal to feel a bit anxious about the new experience. 3. Routine plus practice. Establish a brief, consistent goodbye routine and practice it often. This familiarity can make separations less daunting for your child. 4. Transitional object. Introduce a comforting object from home, like a favorite blanket or stuffed animal, to help your child feel secure in new environments. 5. Telling the story. Share stories of your child's day after pickup, focusing on how they managed challenges and enjoyed activities, reminding them that separations are part of a larger, usually positive experience. Applying these strategies to 3-year-old Wesley, his dad Jeff acknowledges Wesley's feelings about the upcoming separation. He reassures Wesley about preschool, introduces him to his teacher, and establishes a predictable goodbye routine. Later, Jeff shares details of Wesley's day, reinforcing that separations are manageable. Through these efforts, Jeff helps Wesley internalize feelings of security, preparing him for future separations from loved ones with greater ease. Chapter 28, Sleep. According to Becky Kennedy, understanding and addressing sleep struggles in children involves recognizing their essentially separation issues. This means children are grappling with the concept of being alone for extended periods, which can feel scary due to the unknowns of darkness, silence, and the quiet workings of their imagination. Kennedy suggests that these sleep problems often stem from changes in a child's environment or unexpressed anxieties from daily life. Changes like starting school, family disputes, a new baby, or moving homes can make kids feel insecure and lead to sleep disturbances because they find comfort in proximity to parents. She advises parents against a behaviorist approach, which may involve ignoring a child's fears or locking them out of sight. Instead, Kennedy proposes a 2-step process. First, ensure your child feels safe by helping them develop coping skills during the day. Then, implement strategies to improve bedtime routines without causing more anxiety. Daytime separation skills are key. For instance, if a child is reluctant to let you go to the bathroom alone or struggles with school separation, these issues should be addressed before tackling nighttime sleep challenges. Practice saying goodbye and reassure your child of their safety, even when you're not right next to them. Role-playing with stuffed animals can also help. This involves acting out a bedtime routine, discussing feelings, and practicing soothing strategies. For example, you could say, "Let's get Teddy ready for bed." Then guide Teddy through the routine, acknowledging any upsets but maintaining the boundary. "Sure, Teddy can have an extra book." In the morning, Kennedy recommends infusing your presence into your child's room. This could be as simple as placing a family photo next to their bed or drawing one together. The act of creating art can foster feelings of safety and connection, which are beneficial at night. Mantras are another effective tool. They provide a small, controllable focus for your child during bedtime. For example, "Mommy is near, child's name is safe, my bed is cozy." This not only calms the child, but also helps manage parental frustration. The safe distance method gradually increases the physical distance between you and your child at bedtime while maintaining a sense of security. Start by staying very close until they're asleep, then slowly move further away over several nights. Lastly, consider the comfort button. This is a recordable device that plays a soothing message from you when pressed. It allows your child to access your calming presence even when you're not in the room. You could record a lullaby, a reassuring phrase, or a bedtime mantra. Ben and Matt, Cora's parents, used these strategies effectively. They noticed her fears, practiced daytime separation, role-played with dolls using a bedtime mantra, and introduced a comfort button, recording their usual bedtime song and reassurances. This approach reduced Cora's sleep protests, showing that understanding and addressing the underlying separation anxieties can lead to improved sleep habits. Chapter 29, Kids Who Don't Like Talking About Feelings. In her insightful guide, Becky Kennedy explains the concept of deeply feeling kids, DFKs, and offers valuable strategies for parents navigating such situations. DFKs are children who experience intense emotions deeply and respond more quickly than their peers, often leading to dramatic reactions. Kennedy emphasizes that there's nothing inherently wrong with these kids or their parents. She introduces the term DFKs to help parents understand and support their children better. These children can feel overwhelmed easily, entering a fight or flight state more readily than others. DFKs need specific parenting strategies tailored to their unique emotional makeup. General methods may exacerbate situations rather than alleviating them. For instance, trying to discuss feelings directly with a DFK during an episode might backfire, as they might perceive it as intrusive or threatening. Kennedy advises parents to shift from a blaming mindset to curiosity. Instead of thinking, "I'm doing something wrong," or "my child is acting out of control," consider, "What's going on with my child?" This change in perspective helps foster understanding and empathy. Containment is crucial for managing DFK tantrums. When a child is dysregulated, they need immediate containment, a safe space away from the trigger. This doesn't mean punishing them. It's about ensuring their safety while they calm down. The parent should remain present, offering comfort without trying to solve the issue immediately. The strategy of "you're a good kid having a hard time" is pivotal. It shifts focus from the child's misbehavior to acknowledging their struggle and reinforcing their goodness. This approach can diffuse tension and reassure the child that they're loved, even when they're overwhelmed. Presence is another powerful tool. Just being there, calmly and lovingly, communicates acceptance and safety without any specific actions or words. This can be particularly effective during intense meltdowns, where a child might feel isolated in their distress. The thumbs up down to the side game is a creative way to discuss feelings with DFKs who dislike direct talk about emotions. The child responds non-verbally, thumbs up for agreement, thumbs down for disagreement, and sideways for partial agreement. This method can gradually build emotional tolerance and openness. Consider the scenario of Angie and her daughter Maura. When Maura's playful tickling escalated into pushing Isla and then reacting fiercely to her mom's intervention, Angie employed these strategies. Instead of arguing or getting frustrated, Angie contained the situation by picking up Maura and reassuring her, "You're not in trouble. You're a good kid having a hard time, and I love you." Angie then left to check on Isla, giving Maura space to calm down. Later, when things settled, Angie used the thumbs up-down to the side game to understand what triggered Maura's reaction better, learning about an incident at school that day. This approach not only helped Angie comprehend her daughter's behavior, but also reinforced Maura's sense of being loved and understood. In summary, Becky Kennedy provides parents with the knowledge and tools to support DFKs more effectively. By understanding these children's unique emotional landscape, shifting perspectives, practicing containment, affirming their goodness, maintaining a calm presence, and creatively engaging in feelings discussions, parents can foster healthier relationships with their deeply feeling kids. And that brings us to the end of our summary of this book. I hope you found it insightful and valuable. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe for more. Your support helps us bring you more great content. Thanks for watching.